Salut à tous, my name is Marion Buricatu. I am a French artist and I lived here in the United States since 2001. This video is about art and how to impress your friends and family at the museum with 3 easy facts.
So this video is a little bit special because instead of telling you things about painters, I'm going to give you a little demonstration about Edouard Manet and what we just said in the previous videos. So there's 2 things that I really want to talk to you about. The first one is about the color black and how Edouard Manet used a lot of the black color while the Impressionists didn't use the black color, and they made their shadows with a mix of colors. That's the first thing I want to talk to you about. And the second thing that I want to show you is this whole thing about when I said to you that in the classical paintings before the Impressionist, you were not supposed to see brushstrokes. So how do you do that? And the technique is called glazing technique. So I'm going to start with the first one, Manet's black. So I prepared my little palette. So this is, how I work when I paint. I usually have a paper palette with some cardboards. And as you can see, I've already put some colors. Here is the purple, here is the green, here is the blue, here is a special red called alizarin crimson, and here is another red that is a bit earthier. It's called transparent oxide red, and here is some yellow orange. So what I've done here is that in this pile here, I mixed some purple, some blue, some transparent oxide red and some yellow, and I ended up, you see, with this kind of browny color, and I thought that this was not dark enough. So what did I do? I took some green, that's called brush mix, I took some blue, that's called brush mixing, and I added some of my blue to get this dark color. And I'm going to show you in here, I'm going to paint this dark color, and you see it's very, very, very pasty because some colors are very, very thick. So I'm showing you, this is kind of a very dark color. So here it is. This is how the Impressionists would do their dark or their shadows. Now I'm going to put next to it, so I'm cleaning my brush in here. Okay, I clean my brush, I wipe my brush, and now I'm just going to put next to this dark shadow, I'm going to put just pure ivory black, which is the color that Manet would use. Obviously, Manet would not use pure black. He would very often put in his black some other colors, but always his shadows were based with black. I'm going to clean my brush again, and I want to show you also how we can do, more cleaning. Sometimes these colors, they have so highly pigmented, it takes some time to clean them. Yes, here we are. I've also done another shadows because, as I said in the previous videos, Impressionists, they want their shadows to be colored. So this shadow here goes kind of towards the red, the blue red. Now I've done another shadow, and this one I've made it with green, with black and alizarin crimson, this red here. And here is what I get. Look at how dark this shadow is. So it's funny because this one is less pasty. It's probably because one of the color I used, Viridian green, is more like a liquid color. So from where you are, I think that you barely see any difference between these 3 colors. Now, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to add some white in all of these colors, and you'll be able to see how different they are. So here's some white here. Here's my white, and I'm going to add some white in my first shadow. Look at that. It's very brown. Here it is. Now I'm cleaning my brush again. And I'm gonna add some white now in my second shadow here. This one, even if it was made with a lot of green, is really turning blue. And now I'm gonna add some white into my black. And here it is. And here I'm just gonna have a pure gray, simple and pure gray. And you can see now how the three colors are very different. And here you can see here that the shadows are colored like the impressionist shadows. And this is something that I'm using a lot in my paintings. This is very useful depending on what you want to do, but sometimes, for example, in this painting here is made without black. All the shadows are made in these two situations where I've been mixing dark colors together, while this painting here, I've used black everywhere. All my shadows here are made with black. So it's just two different approaches in how you're creating your shadows by using black or not using black, like the impressionists or the classical painters. Now, here's the next things that I want to tell you about. So you remember I said to you that I also wanted to show you how the classical painters, they wanted to have their painting to have no brush strokes. And for that you use a technique that is called the glazing technique. And I'm going to show you that. So I prepared a little canvas in here. And what I've done is that I started by having a background that is here that is pretty dark, because at that time they were always starting on a dark background. And what I've done is that I added some very thin layer of painting, and I kind of spread them like for a long time, okay? And in the painting, what I've done is that I've added a special liquid that is called liquid original. This is what we use nowadays. You know, back in the old days, they were certainly using something else. But nowadays, this is what we use. And thanks to that, you can work your painting until it's very, very, very smooth, and you don't see your brushes anymore. And you have no brush strokes. You have to imagine that in the classical paintings, they would have sometimes 10 layers of this glazing technique. So I'm going to show you quickly about that, how I did it. So what I've done is that, so I'm using a little bit of liquid that I'm putting here, just a little bit. Up. Here it is. It helps liquefy my painting. And then, so let's say that I'm going to add a little bit of white in here. So you see how my white paint is very pasty. So I'm going to mix it here with the liquid glaze, and then I'm going to add more white. And this takes quite a long time to really make it look without any brush strokes. It's kind of a long process. And then what you do is that to avoid having any brush stroke, you use what we call a mop, and you do that. And you have to repeat the same process like 10 times until you get exactly what you want. Now I'm going to show you that I've done that also on one of my paintings, and this is, I'm going to put these two paintings here. You see, in these two paintings, so first, as I said, I use black like the classical painters, but I've also used the glazing technique, because all of that here, all the sky here, the way you go from blue to this kind of pinky color and then orangey color, I used that glazing technique. I went back on this guy at least 6 or 7 times until I was happy with what I had. And same thing here. While, in fact, in this situation here, you know, here, for example, the house here, kind of a glazing technique here too. But in the flower here, definitely you can see the brush strokes. So this is the slapdash technique. This is not the glazing technique. And in here, I worked with a thick paint. So I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration, and you know, that like that next time you'll go to the museum and you'll look at these paintings, you want to understand a little bit better how they made them and what technique they used.
Nice chatting with you. Abonne-toi, which means subscribe to my channel. Have fun and see you at the next video.